Well, hello, friends. Hey, we're getting ready to start a new week. And you know, this last week, I heard a great testimony from a friend of mine that, it really was a great testimony. It touched my heart, and I hope that me just kind of reflecting back upon that testimony will touch your heart and maybe help you to see and do some things in your life that might help you as well. So first off, I'd like to read a little scripture. Colossians 3:13 says, bearing with one another and forgiving one another, if anyone has a complaint against another, even as Christ forgave you, so you also must do. So forgiveness, according to God's word, is very important, right? We know that. We already know those things, right? As Christians, we know that it's important to forgive people. But doggone, it sure is hard to do it sometimes, isn't it? And that was what this testimony was about that I heard this week. And what it was a fella, he shared the message that, he learned traits from his dad that weren't the best in the world. He learned some traits from his mom that weren't the best in the world. And he said when you put them two traits together, he said sometimes it made me not a very nice person. It always made me want to kind of be right about what I was saying, and gave me some pride and things that weren't good. But those things that he learned are things that he then turned right back around and used on his parents, right? So he's a grown man now, has kids of his own, but the story that he shared was this. He's been bickering and battling with his mom and dad for 15 years probably, back and forth. And then the time come that his dad passed away, and then the time come that his mom passed away. And what had happened was it never gave him an opportunity to tell his mom and dad what he felt about him. He was so worried about being right in these arguments that they had going on that it wasn't no longer so much about the relationship as it was just about who's right or who's wrong. And well, that's fine. But what happens is that they die, and when they die, he does not get the opportunity to say, you know what, I'm sorry. So his whole point was this: there is nothing that is more important than having the freedom of forgiveness. There's nothing more important than that. So all these times of wanting to be right, he said, was it really worth it? Is it really worth being right all the time? And I got to tell you something. He had such a wonderful point in what he was sharing with his testimony. Friend, I don't know who it is in your life, but it seems like we all have people in our lives that we need to get reconciled with. I'm telling you, either get on the phone or write an email or send a text. But whoever, what it is that you need to get reconciled, get that done. Do not hesitate. If something happened to them tomorrow and you wasn't able to do it, then that's something you got to live with. Why do we want to do this to ourselves? Kick the pride out the door, make the phone call, send the email or send the text, or however you communicate, stop by the house. But do what you got to do to get things reconciled to where you can have that peace beyond understanding, which is promised to us if we live our lives according to the way the Lord asks us to. So let's go out this week with this goal in mind, and that is to get some things reconciled if we need to. Till next week, God bless.